Thank you, Maya. That was beautiful. And good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the South Hills, also known as Sunnyhill. It is so nice to see you all here this morning. Mask optional as we move toward normalcy, our new normal. We are, of course, still streaming live as well as being in person. So a very good morning to those of you who opted for the warm, fuzzy slippers and being in bed during service. Can't say we blame you. Let us know you're here by saying hello on Facebook or YouTube. Our mission here at Sunnyhill is to create a more just and compassionate community within and beyond our walls. My name is Mary Jo Hennessy, and I serve as a worship associate for this congregation. If you are a newcomer or a visitor to our congregation, and we have a lot of visitors this morning for our very special event we'll have during service, a warm welcome to you all. Please go to sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says New to Sunnyhill. You can receive more information about our congregation and sign up to receive our weekly newsletter called The Beat, which arrives in your email every Wednesday and is chock full of fun information as we move forward with things like our annual Pancake Festival, which is coming in May and is in great fun and for which we need a lot of help. So check that out and sign up. The topic of today's service has to do with awakening. Our culture tends to lead us toward sleepwalking through most of our lives. This service will explore how bringing even the tiniest bit of real awareness to this very moment can change us and lead us towards changing the world. Our opening words were written by Gretchen Haley. Open the door of your hesitant heart. Let the light shine on all the sleeping shadows. Awaken to this day that offers itself to you and to all with a great extravagance. Awaken to this gift, this beauty, this chance that we might still begin again and anew, that we might be changed by the in and out of breath, that we might still burst forth like the crocuses, that we might still surprise this earth with a new song sung together, calling us all in, and then sending us back out, and know it all as a blessing. Come, let us worship together. Please join me as we say the words to light our chalice. We light our chalice as a symbol of the spark of hope that is born with each new life, with each new insight, with the light of each new day.
Good morning. We're going to jump right into singing Around today. So this is a very simple one. We'll sing it together in unison twice, and then 3 times through as Around. And we'll start with this section on my left, your right. We'll do the first part. The second part will be the middle section, and then the third section will be over here. Will come in last. Actually, I'm going to put a couple people on the spot. Judy Armstrong, could you help me and lead a section, please? I'm sorry about that. She had no idea I was doing that, and I try not to do that if I can help it at all. So now I'm looking at the other singers who are all ducking and pretending that they're not here. I'm also going to ask Jay Thornton, who's sitting right there, to come forward, please, and help me, if you would. So, Jay, if you can be in the middle section, I'll be on this section over here, and we'll start with me, go to Jay, and then go to Judy Armstrong. And we're going to do it twice in unison first, and then start the round. So it just starts after each 2 measures. Buddy? Morning has come, night is away, rise with the sun. together one more time. Morning has come, night is away. Rise with the sun and welcome the day. This section, morning has come, night is away. Rise with the sun and welcome the day. Morning has come, night is away. Rise with the sun and welcome the day. Morning has come, night is away. Rise with the sun and welcome the day. Well done. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Jay and Judy. All right, today we are joyfully hosting a child dedication ceremony. So I would ask that Mabel and her parents and godparents come forward and just stand up here on the stage, kind of front and center. So everyone, this is Mabel. And these are Mabel's parents, Mariah McGrogan and Derek Luke. Mabel's full name is Amabel Brianna McLuke, and she's named for her mother's great-grandmother, I believe, Mabel. These are her godparents, Brianna Bell and Joe Stark. Also present are a number of members of extended family and friends who I will ask to rise in just a couple of minutes. Unitarian Universalists believe that every child brings new life and new hope into the world. We set aside a special time called simply a ceremony of dedication for the community to bless our children and celebrate the gift of their lives. When we dedicate a child, we acknowledge that each child's life is sacred and hold that truth in the light of our faith. I have a series of questions that I'm going to ask, first of all, the congregation, and then the godparents, extended family and friends, and parents. And just to let you know, the correct answer to each of these questions is we do. To the congregation, this family has come to this congregation for support. Do you, the members and friends of this congregation, promise to affirm them as a family? Do you promise to create a safe environment for them where they can engage in their free and responsible search for truth and meaning? And do you promise to help them learn the value of a loving religious community? If so, please say, we do. We do. To the godparents. Godparents, you have a special role to play in the life of this child. Do you dedicate yourself to this child's best interests and to help her as she travels the path to adulthood? If so, please say, we do. We do. To extended family members and friends, could you please rise for a moment? They have a lot of family members and friends here today, which is awesome. Family and friends, you also have a special role to play in the life of this child and this family. Do you promise to be supportive of this child and her parents as they make their way on this journey of growth and discovery? If so, please say, we do. Thank you. You may be seated. Amabel, Brianna, this rose touches your brow that you might know wisdom, touches your heart, love and be loved abundantly, touches your hands that you might find good work to do, and touches your feet somewhere in there, that you might always find your own path. Rose? You guys can hold on to her. Times that work. Please join me in the spirit of prayer. Spirit of life and love, we're grateful for the life of this child and this loving family. We don't know for sure about the great mystery from which each of us comes and to which each of us returns, but we pray that while we are here, we might be angels for each other, bringers of peace and joy and grace. May this child and this family be blessed, and may all who know joy and all who know suffering be blessed this day. Amen. Please join me in welcoming Mabel in our presence.
This story is based off of a tale told in the 1700s by the Jewish teacher Jacob ben Wolfkrantz. There was once a very wealthy queen who owned many beautiful things. She had cloth tapestries, piles of gold, and statues made by the very best sculptors in the land. Of all of her belongings, her very favorite possession was the most glorious diamond you can imagine. It was huge, as big as her hand. It was pure, and it was flawless, without any marks or blemishes. She loved to go and sit with that diamond, gazing at its beauty and perfection. One day, when the queen went to look at her diamond, she discovered to her horror that it had a long, deep scratch. She couldn't believe her eyes. What could have happened to her flawless diamond? Immediately, she sent off for all the best stone cutters and diamond cutters in her kingdom. One by one, they came to inspect the diamond. Each looked at it closely and then sadly shook their head. The scratch was too deep. If they tried to polish it, it might break the diamond into pieces. Finally, one last diamond carver came before the queen. They looked at the diamond closely, gazing at it from every angle. The queen watched with bated breath as the diamond carver turned the diamond over and over, pursing their lips and shaking their head. Suddenly, the diamond carver's face broke into a big smile. "I know how to fix this, Your Majesty," they exclaimed. "Leave it to me. In 2 weeks' time, I will return the diamond to you. Better than ever. However, you may not visit me or check on my progress. You must wait until it was finished." The queen was very excited. Soon her flawless diamond would be back with her other lovely things, perfect again with the scratch removed. It took all of the queen's willpower to resist the temptation to visit the diamond carver to watch them work. As for the diamond carver, day after day, night after night, they brought out their tools to fix that diamond. Bit by bit, they worked on the scratch. It was slow, tedious work. They knew they had to work carefully or the diamond could crack into pieces. Finally, the diamond cutter was finished. Carefully, they wrapped the diamond in cloth to protect it and brought it before the queen. "Here it is, Your Majesty." With a flourish, they opened the cloth and presented the diamond. The queen gasped at what she saw. Where there had once been a scratch, a horrible flaw in her precious diamond, there was now an exquisitely beautiful flower carved into it. Unable to polish the scratch out of the diamond carver had instead turned the flaw into something beautiful. The queen loved her diamond more than ever. Now when she went to hold it in her hands and gaze upon it, she was reminded that even something imperfect or ugly or flawed can become something exquisitely beautiful. The end. For today, children are welcome to join me for our RE class downstairs in the main room, but first we're going to sing them out.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go. I'd like to offer this song I'm about to sing one day as a prayer of sorts for the people of Ukraine and for others who have been devastated by violence and violent attacks in the past weeks and months. It's hard to keep a vision of peace in a world that's so torn up by violence, but an important part of what we do as a religious community is to keep that vision of a better world before us as best we can. For me, this song brings to mind a passage from the book of Zechariah, which prophesies a time of peace and justice after a time of struggle. It says, "Old people will walk safely, and children will play in the city squares. In the meantime, these are the things that you should do. Speak truth, each one to their neighbor, and render truth and justice within your gates." I invite you to join with me on the chorus, the part that goes... Check, check, okay. The part that goes... One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Try that with me. One day, one day, one day. One day, one day, one day. Excellent. Sometimes I lay under the moon and I thank God that I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon, for I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. It's not about win or lose, 'cause we all lose when they feed on blood of the innocent, blood-drenched pavement. Keep on moving though the waters stay raging. And in this life you may lose your way, your way. It might drive you crazy, but don't let it faze you, no way, no way. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. One day all this will change, treat people all the same. Stop with the violence, down with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same sun, singing songs of freedom like one day, one day, one day, one day. 'Cause all my life I've been waiting for,
I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Keep it going. One day, one day, one day again. One day, one day, one day.
This is the time in our service when we normally share joys and sorrows, but this is one of the rare weeks when we did not have any joys or sorrows submitted. But please keep in mind, if you do want to submit a joy or sorrow to be shared in front of the congregation, to do so, you can do it from our website, sunnyhill.org. Click on the links, one of the links at the bottom of the screen, or you can send an email to pastoralcare@sunnyhill.org. For now, please join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation. Remember to breathe always. Take a moment simply to sense breath coming in and breath going out. When you are struggling, breathe. When you are celebrating, breathe. When you are trying something new, breathe. When you are facing the same old challenges, breathe. When life is good, breathe. When everything comes unglued, breathe. Sitting here right now, surrounded by people who care, breathe. In the silence of this moment, breathe. Breathe in the peace of this place and this moment. Breathe out the love that longs to be unloosed in our world. May we remember and return to this place of openness and breathing throughout all the moments of our lives. Amen. It is a joyful and holy noise. This meditation on breathing will go through two different parts. First is simply breathe in, breathe out, repeated. And then when I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out again, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe I breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
Perhaps one of the most countercultural religious messages ever is simply this one word: awaken. We sleepwalk through most of our lives, and our culture tends to support this sleepwalking. If you bring even the tiniest bit of real awareness to this moment, to any moment, in all of its horror and all of its beauty, you will be changed, and you will be lured toward changing the world. But rather than bringing our attention to this moment, our conformist, consumerist culture constantly encourages us to do things that keep us spiritually asleep. Most of what we buy, watch, read, eat, drink, or otherwise consume might as well be a sleeping potion, and some of it is just exactly that. Resistance to the dominant culture requires building an alternative with other people and supporting one another in our efforts to see and act upon things as they really are, rather than through the filters of fear and unreasoned conformity. Real and meaningful emotional and spiritual growth will not be gained by naming the problem and then attempting to transcend it, which has sometimes been the religious response to suffering and evil in the world. Mere transcendence, whether it is achieved in this world or any other, does not transform anything. Rather, we move forward on the path of transformation by naming the problem and incarnating the compassionate response in community with others. There's a famous passage from Paul's letter to the Romans that reads as follows: "The commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and any other commandment are summed up in this word: love your neighbor as yourself." Love does no wrong to a neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law. And then the very next verse reads, "Besides this, you know what time it is, how it is now the moment for you to wake from sleep. The night is far gone, the day is near. Let us then lay aside the works of darkness and put on the armor of light." I've spoken before about some of the times in my life when I was struggling and not really doing so well. One of those times was when I dropped out of college and really had no idea what to do next. I have an older sister who I love dearly and was kind enough to offer to let me stay with her until I could figure out what was going on and what my next move was going to be. So I moved from Cincinnati, where I'd been living, to North Carolina, and I needed to find work, so I took the very first job that I could find, which was as a fry cook at a Hardee's. It was a minimum wage job, and at first I would say I was doing a minimal amount of work in that job. I was a little dazed. I'd never worked in a setting like that before, and I felt like I was always just 2 or 3 steps behind everything else that was going on with my coworkers. And really, I really didn't know what I was doing. One evening, I was standing around in a little bit of a haze, and the manager walked up to me and pretty much got right in my face and said to me, "The first thing you need to do is wake up." At first, I was angry because it seemed a little bit overly aggressive and insulting, but I decided to listen to him anyway, mostly because I really needed that job. So I started paying attention to what was happening around me. I learned how to read the crowd as they came in the doors to know how many burgers to start cooking on the grill and how many baskets of fries to drop in the deep fryer. I learned how to get the necessary cleaning done in between the rushes of customers. I learned how to check on supplies and stock up in order to be prepared for the next crowd that might come in. Now, when he told me to wake up, my boss, Richard, probably did not think that he was giving me spiritual advice. He just wanted to challenge me to start doing a good job. But I must say that his admonition to be more aware of what was happening around me was the start of something new and important for me. I started to see that no matter what kind of work was before me, no matter how humble or grand it might be, I could bring a kind of focus to that work that would not only allow me to do a better job, but would also bring me into that moment and give me a greater sense of knowing what was going on both within and around me. It marked a new beginning for me. I did start doing a better job, and I was soon promoted to a managerial position, which, believe me, was a mixed blessing, and then eventually found my way back into college and finished my undergraduate degree at the University of North Carolina. That, by the way, is the same university whose men's basketball team won a tremendous victory last night. But from that one small moment forward, my personal journey has been one of becoming more fully awake to this moment. It's not always easy or comfortable to wake up to what's going on around us because sometimes what we see is just not so great. Sometimes we see things in our lives or in the world that desperately need to be changed. On the other hand, when we work to become more fully aware, we are also able to see great beauty that we would miss otherwise. But the religious journey is always one of waking up. There's a story that soon after having become enlightened, the Buddha was wandering around India, just going from place to place, village to village, taking everything in. One day he passed a man on the road who was struck by the Buddha's extraordinary radiance and peaceful presence. The man stopped and asked him, "My friend, what are you? Are you a god?" "No," said the Buddha. "Well, then are you some kind of magician or wizard?" "No," said the Buddha. "Are you an angel or celestial being?" "No." "Then, my friend, what are you?" And the Buddha replied, "I am awake." Enlightenment doesn't mean becoming otherworldly. It means becoming fully awake to this world, this day, this very moment. To become fully awake means to look at everything squarely and with our own eyes. But instead of looking through our own eyes at the world around us, these days, so much of what we know of the world comes through the filter of television or radio or the internet. We're constantly being told through the media and in other ways, what we have is not enough, so you need to buy more stuff. The world is hopelessly broken, so you might as well just stay there on the couch. And some lives are more important than others, so just look out for you and yours and forget about everyone else. These are the messages that the media presents to us because that's how they sell things. What you have is not enough. If you buy this product, this video, this shampoo, this beer, life will be better for you. The world may be broken, we hear, but just sit there dazed while we tell you how utterly chaotic and messed up the world is. That way you'll feel somewhat protected or at least numbed. But you won't be changing the status quo in any way. You won't be doing anything to transform the world or yourself. It gets discouraging sometimes, doesn't it? So we need to find ways to gain a fresh perspective on our lives and experience something like a spiritual awakening. Long, long ago, there was a man who lived in a village, and this man had essentially given up on life. He found no joy or satisfaction in his work, or in his family, or in his community. And so he cried out to God one day, "Show me the way to paradise." And somewhat to his surprise, a voice answered him and said, "Are you sure this is what you want?" And the man said, "Yes, with all my heart. I am through with this world. Show me the way to paradise." And so it was that this voice from the heavens told him the way to get to paradise. It turned out it wasn't terribly far from his own village, really just a couple of days' journey by foot. And so the man set out down the road, and he walked until sunset that evening, and he decided he would lay by the side of the road to sleep underneath a leafy tree. Just before going to sleep, he thought, it's possible in the morning I might wake up a little confused and forget which way I was going on the road. So he took off his shoes and he set them down in the direction that he was walking. He lay down and went to sleep. Now, something happened in the night, and it's hard to know what it was. Maybe it was animals, maybe it was an angel of some kind, but somehow the man's shoes got turned around over the night. So he woke up in the morning, he stretched, he ate some fruit from the tree that he was sleeping beneath, and he found his shoes, and he hopped into them and set out down the road, not knowing that he was actually coming back in the direction from which he had come. At the end of a little walk, he noticed a village on the hillside. And it was this beautiful village, unlike anything he'd ever seen. And he said, this must be paradise. And so he walked into the village and was taken by how vibrant and full of life this place was. His own village was always just noisy and crowded. And he sat down in the square and just took everything in. He heard the sounds of children playing and laughing together at school. He heard the sounds of all the adults in the village doing their jobs. And as evening came, he heard the sounds of families being joyfully reunited and the smells, the wonderful aromas of food cooking. And he realized that this village bore some resemblance to his own village. And he also realized he was getting hungry. He said, I wonder if there's a street in paradise like my own street in my village. And he went, and sure enough, there was a street very much like his own street. And he said, I wonder if there's a house like my house in paradise. And he went down the street, and there it was before him, a house that looked very much like his own house. And as he sat there staring at this place, a woman stuck her head out the door, a woman who bore a strong resemblance to his wife, and said, what are you doing standing there? Come in, supper is getting cold. And the man thought, how wonderful. They know me in paradise. There is a place set for me at the table in paradise. And the woman had prepared this soup for him to eat. As the man came inside, he was taken by how beautiful this dwelling place was. His own house was kind of crowded and uncomfortable, but this place was so cozy and homey. And he sat down and he ate the soup that this woman had prepared, and it was the most delicious thing he had tasted in his life. And he went to bed that night, and he woke up the next morning. He was awakened by the woman who handed him his tools and lunch and said, get up, it's time to go to work. And the man thought, how can this be? How can there be work to do if I'm in paradise? But then he thought, well, there are probably jobs to do in paradise too. And so he headed off to his work, and his work was nothing like it had been before. It had been so dull and repetitive and boring. But now he found this sense of purpose and this sense of camaraderie among his coworkers. It was such a joyful thing to work. And that night after working, he came back to the same home, to the same beautiful woman, and to her delicious soup. And so his days went. And you know, in all the years that followed, no one could ever convince that man that he had not found his way to paradise. Some people might say that this man was simply deluded. But I would say that he was awake in a way that he had not been before. All of us have experienced to some degree a kind of haze or stupor induced by 2 years of pandemic suffering and various other crises and accompanying traumas. Sometimes it's like we're just going through the motions, with everything muted and just slightly out of focus. But now is the time to become awake. In that passage from Paul's letter to the Romans, he wrote, you know what time it is, how it is now the moment for you to wake from sleep. The night is far gone, the day is near. Let us then lay aside the works of darkness and put on the armor of light. I think of that light as being our awareness of what is happening within us and around us. It is an armor that illuminates rather than merely protects us. It is the glow of the Buddha It is the newfound awareness of the man who sees his village with new eyes. I hope and pray that each of us might don the armor of light and awaken. May it be so. Amen. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and join in singing our hymn, Wake Now My Senses.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in awe. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end.
Please be seated.
It is time for our offering. And today we have a designated offering, which gives us the opportunity to put our mission into action. Not just say the words, but act on the words as we reach out beyond our walls. The designated offering today is Rainbow Railroad. It is a global not-for-profit organization that helps LGBTQ+ people facing persecution. In a time where there are more displaced people than ever before, LGBTQ+ people are uniquely vulnerable due to systemic, state-enabled homophobia and transphobia. Rainbow Railroad helps LGBTQ+ individuals find safety through emergency relocation and other forms of assistance. The organization is currently working to help at-risk LGBTQ+ Ukrainians and refugees. If you would like to make an offering, you can do so in several ways. Via our online giving system, you can go to sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says Online Giving and follow the instructions. Or you can give by text at 412-324-3130. Just text the amount of your gift and the word special, and that money will go to our designated offering, Rainbow Railroad. You can also mail a check if you prefer. Our mailing address is at the bottom of our website, sunnyhill.org. And for those of you who are here with us in person, we will be passing the offering baskets in just a moment. And thank you all for your generosity. Before we extinguish the chalice and head out for some hot coffee and warm conversation, I have been asked to give a little public service announcement, because out there you will find, and I never have my phone on during service, but because I wanted to make sure you all saw the beat, which I know you did because you look at it every Wednesday, just like I do, and you already all know about the Seasons of Fun. What is this thing, the Seasons of Fun? Some of you are wondering who didn't get a chance to read the beat. Well, it is part of our service auction team's continuing creativity in keeping the service auction going through 2 very trying years, and kudos to them. So the actual service auction itself, the physical service auction, won't be until September. But if we wait till September, we will miss all spring and summer to have our wonderful parties that we love. So we are having Season of Fun. It's just like when you think about Bridgerton, right? And they had the season. It's just like that. But you don't really have to dress quite that well. But you can if you want to, because that would be swell, because we haven't been wearing our nice clothes for 2 years. But actually, I got rid of mine all. I don't have anything nice to wear anymore. But anyhow, I digress. So, anyway, they're out there. There's a table. The ladies are waiting for you, and they're waiting to help you sign up. And you're thinking, well, I don't know how to throw a party. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. All manner of things have been offered up over the years. Motorcycle ride, awesome. So good. Parties for kids. Yes, there are actually parents who will let your children come to their house and you can go somewhere else. I mean, that's dear. That you pay a lot of money for that. Well, I want to have a party, but I don't know how much to charge. They will help you figure that out. There are endless ideas. You can serve a dinner. You can have a pizza. A weenie roast. Oh my gosh, speaking of weenie roasts, there's one coming up just here in June. So it's really fun. And you don't have to like weenies to go. You can just go. So anyhow, please make sure you stop by the service auction table. Be awoke to this thing and participate. And you know what really is the best thing about this? And especially if you are a newcomer, you may not know your host or hostess, and that's awesome. Sign up and get to know them. We have gotten so big now, which is awesome and wonderful, but that also means we don't know each other. There was a time when everything happened in that little room next door, Imagine. So now these events, just like Chalice Circles, are a chance to get to know one another a little bit better. So I do hope you'll offer something up, and even better, sign up. And with that, I'll shut up so we can go have that coffee. So, hold on. There we go. Please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Just one more thing before we take off. I wanted to let everybody know that this week the church closed on refinancing our mortgage with the bank, which was a big deal. And it took considerable work from a lot of different people. Some of you know when we did the renovation project here that resulted in this beautiful room being built, among other things, it ended up costing close to $3 million, and we had raised about 1.7 in gifts from members. The bank would only let us borrow about $800,000, which left us about $500,000 short. We asked for loans from members to get us through and help us complete this process. And with the new refinance, we were able to pay off all the member loans, renegotiate to a much lower interest rate than what we had been paying before, which is going to end up saving the congregation thousands of dollars each year. I want to thank everyone who gave, first of all, to make this project possible, I want to thank those who gave member loans that helped us bridge that gap. Jeannie, could you wave for a second? That's Jeannie Lofgren, our board president, who did a lot of just tremendous work getting this refinancing done. And Denny McCracken, could you please wave too in the back? Denny took care of the member loan piece and coordinated all of that, which was also a great deal of work. So I want to thank everyone, all members, people that provided member loans, members of the board and others that were involved. It was a job very well done. Thank you all. There is finally only one thing required of us. That is to take life whole, the sunlight and shadows together, to live the life that is given us with courage and humor and truth. We have such a little moment out of the vastness of time for all our wondering and loving. Therefore, let there be no half-heartedness. Rather, let this soul be ardent in its pain, in its yearning, in its praise. Then shall peace enfold our days, and glory shall not fade from our lives. Go in peace, seeking justice, living and loving with all your heart.